Hey, lovely. Welcome back to the podcast. Awesome to have you here. I'm excited to talk about what we're talking about today. I know that it's going to be super helpful for you because I think that there has been a big shift in the messaging landscape in the online business world. Where historically, we have been taught all about pain point marketing. Poke the bear, poke the pain. Let them know that you understand what their problem is. And whilst that is important, understanding your client's problem, the one thing that I do not want to do is be a negative Nelly in a world that is very negative generally. Like you want to be the shining beacon. You want to be the one that's telling them what's possible. And so today we are going to be talking about the messaging shift that you need to make in order to start attracting the empowered client that you want. I'll explain it all as we go. But if it's your first time here, hey there, I'm Suze Chadwick. I am a personal brand and business coach, and I help you get out of your own way so that you can build a brand that sells for you. Now, the reason that this topic came up is that I was working with a client recently, and she sent me all of her messaging, her emails, and her products and service description. And there's quite a lot of negative messaging in there, which is all good. That's what we've been taught. So I just want to say if you have negative messaging that you use, I understand why you use it. But I have a rule that I teach my clients and that I think is really important. And that rule is 70-30. So 70% desire based marketing, I call it the carrot, and 30% is problem or pain point marketing, which is the stick. So I want you to think about, do you like rewards or do you like somebody that's kind of hammering you over the head to get you to do something? That's not an ideal situation. And so if you've got somebody that is constantly pointing out the negative elements of what you're experiencing, what's happening. So you're not getting any clients, you're not attracting what you want, you're finding it really hard, you're struggling so much. Then, if that's the message you're going out with, you're going to attract people who are in that pit, in that hole where that's all they're thinking about. Whereas if we start to speak to people and empower them or speak to them in an empowering way. And I'll be giving you examples in just a minute. But when we speak to them in an empowering way, like you are somebody that wants big things for yourself, you're already getting clients, you're already making money, but you want to achieve this thing. Now, obviously, I'm using business analogies here, but it could be the same whether you're in the health space, whatever else, where it's like right now you're working on your health. You're starting to feel better. You're eating well. You're drinking lots of water, but you might be experiencing bloating, lack of energy, and something else. I'm not a health professional, so I can't give you the example. But if you message it like that, you're going to attract somebody who's already taking the steps to create a better outcome. And now they need your help to get the rest of the way. And in business, if I say you're already attracting clients, you're already making money, you're an action taker, you know what it is that you want and you're willing to do the work. But right now, you might be struggling because you're lacking clarity and you don't know exactly what the next step is. Then this is what we can do together. So that was like 70% of this is who you are. This is why you're amazing. This is what you're doing really well. But here's one or two points as to what you want more of. Then you're going to really be connecting with people who are action takers, who are empowered, who are ready to do the work to create the outcomes that they want. And so the golden rule is that people don't buy because they're broken. They buy because they're growing. That's what we want. We want to be working with people that know that they're growing. They're focused on the growth. Yes, there's problems. Yes, there's weeds that need to be pulled out. And yes, they need to be able to see like what those problems are, but they are action focused. They're ready to get the job done. And so there are three core transformations that you can be thinking about using and working on when it comes to your messaging. And the other thing I want to say is that I've got a free download for you that gives you the entire outline. It's a positive messaging guide. And all you have to do is go to susechadwick.com/messaging and you'll be able to grab that. This is such a great tool to use as a checklist for where you're doing your messaging that could help you to obviously have better messaging, positive messaging, empowering messaging as well. So go and grab that. But let's talk about 3 core transformations. The first one is problem focused, is how you might be doing it right now. And we really want to move to possibility focus. So instead of what's wrong, what's missing, what's broken, we're going to focus on what's possible, what's next, and what's exciting. So I want to give you some examples of how to take your messaging from negative to positive. I'll give you 2 different types. So for a business coach and for, say, a nutritionist. So for example, the first thing is you're going to take your messaging from problem focus to it being possibility focused. The negative message that you might have is tired of your business running you instead of the other way around, struggling with inconsistent revenue and can't figure out why aren't buying. We're obviously going to attract people that are experiencing that. But the positive way that you could frame it is ready to build a business that runs like clockwork while you focus on what you love. Excited to discover the revenue strategies and prospects into premium clients. So the reason that it works is that a positive version makes them feel like a CEO about to up level, not a struggling entrepreneur drowning in the problem. So if we're going to do problem focus to possibility focus and you're, say, a nutritionist, then it might be negative, tired of feeling exhausted all the time, struggling with digestive issues, and can't figure out why you're always bloated and uncomfortable. The positive message would be ready to wake up with natural energy that lasts all day, excited to discover how amazing your body can feel when everything is working in harmony. And once again, the positive version focuses on the vibrant health they want, not the symptoms that they're experiencing. So that's the first thing, is problem focus to possibility focus. That's our first framework. So I want you to think about how you start to use that, how you can start to assess where your messaging is when it comes to that framework. So you've just got to remember who you're speaking to and attracting when you've got your negative message, and who you're speaking to and attracting when you're creating the positive message. The second framework is victim language to power language. This is the shift that you want to make. So the negative is if you're stuck charging low rates and can't seem to break through the income ceiling, I can help you fix your pricing strategy and stop undervaluing. The positive language would be when you're ready to command premium prices and break through to your next income level, I'll help you upgrade your price strategy and start claiming your true value. The reason that that works so well is that ready implies they're in control and making a choice, whereas stuck makes them feel powerless and trapped. So also just understanding the psychology around the language that you're using. Ready to go. If I say ready to go to my kids, then I expect that they are pretty much ready to walk out the door. When we talk to our clients and we say, oh, you're so stuck. Do you feel stuck? Does it feel hard? I was actually on a coaching call with my mastermind group today, and I was sharing some beliefs that I have. And I think that it comes into language, because this is not just about the language that we speak to our audience and our clients in, but I have a big belief that the language that you speak to yourself in matters. And so, for example, this is easy. Are you telling yourself that something is easy, or are you telling yourself it's going to take so long? This is going to be so hard. It's like pulling teeth. I'm never going to get this. If you were to use that language, is that helpful for you? Or is the language of, I know how to do this, and if I don't, I can figure it out. I've done it before and I can do it again. I'm going to create this thing. I'm going to make it happen. This is going to be exciting. It's going to become easy for me to be able to do. I'm going to become so confident in how I do that. Like, even just that, when it comes to the way that we speak to ourselves, is so important. I really want you to think about, are you speaking to yourself in negative language or in positive language? Because if you're speaking to yourself in negative language all the time, you are going to struggle, my friend. You are going to find things hard, and that's not what we want to be doing. All right. The third framework when it comes to negative to positive messaging is problem solution to growth opportunities. So the negative way of thinking about it is, let's help you fix your broken sales process and solve your client acquisition problem once and for all. The positive way of messaging that is, let's transform your sales approach and elevate your client attraction strategy to the next level. Now, obviously, you would put your brand tone of voice on this as well so that it sounds exactly like you. But the reason that this works when it comes to problem solution and growth opportunities is nobody wants to admit their sales process is broken. Everybody wants to elevate to the next level. And so, once again, we really want to think about what are the desires that our clients have? What is it that they really want? And so I wanted to give you an example of the problem solution to growth opportunity messaging framework for a nutritionist is I'll help you fix your gut health issues and solve your inflammation problems so you can get rid of those uncomfortable symptoms would be the negative messaging. The positive messaging is I'll help you transform your gut health and elevate your body's natural healing ability so that you can move forward and beyond discomfort into vibrant wellness. Again, it's all about the words. Transform and elevate sounds aspirational. Fix and solve implies that there's obviously something wrong. What's really happening is that when we use negative messaging, so constantly just focusing on pain point messaging, it attracts people who identify as broken and stuck, which is not what we want. When we use positive messaging, we attract people who see themselves as capable and growing. I want you to think about what clients you're attracting. Yeah. What is it that they're doing? How can you speak to the ones that you really want to work with? I don't know about you. I love people that are takers. Are they having problems? Are they struggling in some points of their business? Absolutely. That's why they come and they hire a business coach. But I want to sell what I call jazz hands. I want to be like, this is what's possible for you. This is what life could be like. This is where we're going to go to. These are the things that you're experiencing that might be negative, but I'm going to do the 70-30 positive to negative when I'm messaging to them. The other thing you have to know about negative messaging, and obviously this also depends on your niche and the area of business, health, or whatever it is that you're in. If you are in business, the truth is that often negative messaging attracts price sensitive clients who want you to fix them. And positive messaging attracts investment minded clients who want to level up, who want to invest in themselves, who want to grow, who are willing to do the work. Because remember, people don't buy because they're broken. They buy because they're excited about who they're becoming. And so really understanding the different models, the different methods that you can use when it comes to positive messaging that we've been through. And like I said, this is going to be in the guide that you can grab if you go to susechadwick.com/messaging. You'll be able to get that. And I've actually got a prompt that you can use in AI so that when you write something, you can then use the prompt and the prompt will take your messaging and it will put the positive messaging spin on it. Now, if you've been in business for a long time, there is definitely something that I want to highlight for you is that if you're not somebody that updates your messaging on a regular basis, you might be using messaging that you've been using for years, and that might be speaking to an old version of the client that you want to work with. I was even speaking to one of my clients the other day, and she said, I really need to evolve my messaging because my client has evolved since I first started my business. And so that's something to think about as well. And so an activity that is in the guide and that I want you to really think about is to create a list of the things that your current dream client thinks, believes, and says right now is so worth doing. It'll make a huge difference. And so one of the things that I think is always worthwhile, and for those of you who've been around for a long time, you'll also know that I interviewed like 100 people when I first started my business so that I could really understand what was going on for them. And so I would really encourage you to interview some current clients that you have so that you can ask them the types of questions that you want to know about where they are. So what I've given you in the guide, and I'll go through a few of them, but there's too many to go through in the podcast, is you'll interview them and you'll select a number of problem digging questions. You'll ask them a number of desire unlocking questions. You'll ask them a number of mindset and motivation questions, and you'll ask them a number of action taking questions. So I'll give you some examples. Is that the problem digging questions is where you're going to find out what's really keeping them stuck right now. And obviously we need to know this in order to be able to speak to the desires they have. So things like what's the biggest challenge that you're facing in business right now? What's frustrating you the most about your current situation? What have you tried so far to solve the problem? What's worked? What hasn't worked? So these are problem. I've got 10 questions in the guide for you. So definitely grab that. The second one is desire unlocking questions. So this really goes to the heart of what they actually want. And this is where we really want to be building out the desires of our clients. Like, what is it that they want? What is it that we need to speak to them about? So, for example, a desire unlocking question could be, if I could wave a magic wand, I'm sure you've heard this one before, what would your business look like in the next 6 to 12 months? What would more time, more freedom, and more income actually look like? Now, obviously, if you're in a different niche or different type of business, you would change these questions to be relevant to your client and what it is you help them to do. What are you craving more of in your business right now? Ease, confidence, bigger clients. One of the things I love to do with my clients is that we do a forward thinking exercise where I'm like, where do you want to be in the next 6 to 12 months? If business was exactly what you wanted it to be, if it looked the way that you wanted, if you were doing things that just light you up and the business was running well, what would be happening? And so getting those verbatim comments, getting the words that your clients would use is gold. Like, you really want to make sure that you're getting that, because if your clients are thinking it, and this is your dream client, you're like, if I could have 100 of these types of clients, that's who I would be wanting. If they're saying and thinking this, I can almost guarantee that other dream clients like them will be thinking and saying the same or similar things. Your mindset and motivation questions, which is really about how you find their thought patterns and hidden blocks. So questions like, what do you believe is possible for you right now and what feels out of reach? Really understanding your client's mindset, I think, is so important. Another question is, what stories are you telling yourself about why it isn't working? As a mindset coach, these questions are gold. So there's like 10 of those questions as well. And then action taking questions, it's really about how you get them thinking about what's next. And so questions like, what's the very next step you know you need to take about habit? If I could help you solve just one thing right now, what would you choose? So it could be a priorities thing. And so really understanding, number one, that we've talked about today is the 3 core transformations that we want to use when it comes to our messaging. And the methods are problem focused to possibility focused. We want victim language to power language. We want problem solving to growth opportunities when we're speaking to them. And a power phrase that you could also use are things like picture this, imagine when, ready to, what becomes possible when, the next level looks like this. Oh, I love those. I don't know, but that just totally speaks to me. And then doing the interviews with your dream client and really getting up to date information on what they want, what they think, what they believe, etc., so that you can be using that in your copy and content. Now, the prompt that I've also put in the guide that you'll be able to get, I use this myself and I get my clients to use it too, where you will write your copy. You might take parts of a sales page, you might take emails that you've created, whatever it might be, and then you would put this prompt in. I would highly recommend Claude over ChatGPT for copywriting. You can use it for free to a certain level. Otherwise, you can obviously pay for it. But because the writing is so good with Claude AI, I use it all the time. And so I think it's absolutely worth the investment. And so I take the copy that I write and then I use the prompt to rewrite it in my tone of voice and with positive messaging. So it's going to make your life so much easier. I think it's really going to show you how you can shift and change what it is you're creating and doing when it comes to your copy, so that you can really connect with your audience in a way that attracts empowered clients who are happy to invest, that want the change, that are ready to go. Yeah. Amazing. Listen, I hope this has been helpful. Make sure that you go and grab the guide, susechadwick.com/messaging. It will make a huge difference. And if you've got any questions, let me know. But otherwise, have an amazing week and I'll speak to you soon.